Cheap versus expensive film. In today's video, we're going to be comparing two photographic films at two very different price points. Kodak Portra 400 versus Kodak Gold. I've chosen to compare these two films because I feel like they share a lot of similarities in the way they understand color. And through comparison, we can find out if it is worth going for the premium option, or if for your photos, it is better to go for a more affordable option. It all depends on what kind of photos you want to create. And I know that cheap is never really a word you can use to describe film nowadays, but it can be tricky to even find a couple of films you could compare to Portra. So let's start with everyone's favorite, Kodak Portra 400. This is a premium, professional grade film, loved by many primarily because of the way it creates beautiful skin tones. Although it's perhaps not the go-to film for someone who strictly shoots nature and landscapes, its warm tones aren't too exaggerated, and on the whole it can stay pretty true to life. It's also rated at 400 ISO. This means that you can load it up into your camera and you can take photos both outside in sunlight, and it will still be sensitive enough that you could take photos indoors provided you've got a good amount of natural light coming through windows, or using artificial lights around your house. Right here on the canister, you'll see that it's a professional grade film. And what does this mean? This means that it was designed to be bought, shot and developed as soon as possible. This design means that more information can be pulled back in post-production from the darkest parts of the image as well as the brightest parts of the image, which normally with non-professional grade films, that information will just be lost. If you're a professional or you're being paid to do a photo shoot and you want to rest assured that you're going to have the most flexibility in post-production, you will opt to shoot a professional grade film. That being said though, I know so many people across all levels of photography skill who still choose to shoot Portra 400, and it makes me wonder whether it really is the best choice for them, hence why we're making this video. Although you can keep this film in your camera and shoot it over a few weeks, its shorter expiry date will start to creep up on you, and you'll start to lose a lot of that flexibility which you've paid a lot of money for. I've shot Portra for years, and if I could afford to shoot it every day, I would. Unfortunately, I now really have to save it for special occasions or jobs where I know I'll really need it because the prices have gone up so much over the years. Luckily, I've got more than enough photos in my archive to do this comparison. So, without further ado, let's give a more affordable film a chance. As Kodak Gold isn't a professional grade film, you won't be getting the same flexibility, but you will be getting a longer expiry date, allowing you to keep the film in your camera for longer and not have to worry as much about getting it developed in time. As we can see from the scene in front of us here, if I was shooting on Portra, I know that I'd be able to take this photo and not worry as much about having the really bright sky overpowering the image too much and trying to balance that out with the darker parts of the image. I could go into post-production and know I'd be able to pull down the highlights of the sky, and if need be, pull more detail out of the shadows. But if you know you're not going to be using photo editing software, and you're just going to be happy with how the photos come out of the camera, then Kodak Gold might be a film for you. So, is it worth paying the extra money for Portra? I'll leave that one up to you. In my opinion, some of the most important things that go into a photograph all happen before you've even turned your camera on. If you're taking someone's photo, for me it's all about connecting to that person. Or if you're shooting landscapes, spending the time to really refine your compositions and learn how to balance out an image. Even something so fundamental as understanding how different light works is now a backseat thought in a lot of people's minds because they think, oh, I can just do that in post-production. But one thing you can't do in post-production is develop your instinct to know when a good photo opportunity is about to happen. All of these factors, in my opinion, are a lot more important than what film you have in your camera. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's encouraged you to take more photos. There are so many different films out there, and we haven't even touched on black and white film yet. All of them are going to understand light in a different way to give you a different image. And everyone's got a different opinion on what looks good to them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.